either joins the Habs or plays on the top pairing in Laval.
Lest we forget the last wrench they threw in with Cale Fleury when he made this with the roster, and that was another wrench they threw in. So I wouldn't mind seeing that again too. I think that's a really good point.
If I can throw in a follow-up, if you were to compare him, he's like a Jeff Petrie, he's like an Edmondson, he's like a Sherratt, like
Norlander?
Yeah.
He's not like any of them because he's pretty small. Like okay, he's not short, but he's fairly like slight of frame. He's not going to blow anyone up with big hits. That's just not his game. I would compare him. Okay,
dare I say
he's
Victor
closer to Mete. He's closer to no. But again,
that's a very good point. Though. I will agree with that.
It's very different. Like defensively, I'd say he's like Mete. Smart stick, good positioning, effective, gets the job done. Not flashy defensively, but offensively, like he has Mete's skating. Maybe not quite the pure speed.
Please, I hope he doesn't have his shot.
But Norlander has a really sweet wrist shot. It's not the most powerful, but he has great accuracy on it. And he's really good at also passing out of a shot. So because he has a good shot, he's a shooting threat, but he's really good at also faking the shot and passing. Not quite like Nick Suzuki, who's like a master at it, but he's really effective at it. And it's also why he gets power play time, right? Like Victor Mete, he got like what 40 minutes on the power play in Montreal in his entire career. Like he's not a power play person, right? Norlander would be. I wouldn't compare him to anyone on the Habs roster right now, but he has that like Victor Mete like skating flair and really dynamic offensive ability.
Well, if you want to throw in a really quick comparison, you could say that his shot is very similar to that one goal Eric Gustafsson scored against Winnipeg in the playoffs.
Exactly.
The screen. A quick little wrist in front towards the middle of the net. It's just a nice, perfect release like that.
Deceptive.
You guys were awesome. That was actually like an incredible segment. I am looking forward to talk about more prospects in the upcoming weeks. Good job, guys. We're now going to send it over to Joshua Rosa. I'm going to start with you for this next segment. And before we do that, I just want to give a quick thank you to Sam Mendehlson, who joined us at the beginning of the show and kicked things off with all the free agency news. There's obviously a lot to talk about. But instead of talking about the players that we receive, how about we talk about the players that have left? Philip Deneau is gone. Thomas Tatar is gone. Corey Perry is gone. We could throw in Shea Weber in a way,
Or stranded, I would more say.
Yeah, exactly. So like it doesn't really count. John Merrill, Eric Gustafson, all these guys are gone.
Well, Mrs. Mullet.
And the mugshot, of course.
Of course.
So Josh, I'm going to start with you. I mean, is there anyone out of that group that the Habs should have done everything in their power to keep, or you know what, we're actually better off without them?
Yeah, I get to be the bearer of bad news, eh? All the people that have left us this year. There is some that it's really easy to say, okay, Eric Gustafson's leaving. It's pretty clear that Chris Weidman can fill that role, especially if he could put up the numbers and play the way that he did in the KHL, he can fill that Eric Gustafson role in more.
Yeah, he got KHL Defenseman of the Year, right?
Yeah, he almost scored at like a point per game, I want to say, around.
Yeah, Maria Cage,
check that. 41 points in like 50-something games, I think.
I know for a fact that he was actually offered $2 million to continue playing in the KHL, and he turned that down to play here. So I guess that shows a lot about how much he wants to play in North America, and most importantly, how much he wants to get that NHL shot again.
That's a lot of rubles.
Yeah,
just a quick point to bring that back. Might I add, the highest paid defenseman in the KHL right now is former Hab Darren Dietz at $1.4 million. So it just kind of goes to show you how valued Chris Weidman was.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's really easy, like Cedric Paquette could fill the Corey Perry role on the fourth line as the energy type guy. I think the hardest one's going to be Philip Deneau and his face-offs and his defensive prowess. Montreal's face-offs going to be pretty bad this year if nothing changes. Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kotkaniemi aren't like terrible, I don't think, at the face-offs, but they're not
definitely not elite. But there's still a small improvement, though. I mean,
they're going to be better next year. It's just going to be it's going to be up to how, if it stays like this, how big of a jump is Kotkaniemi and Suzuki able to make, because it's going from a kind of 2 to 1B to flat out 1 and 3 to 2, which is a big jump. And I think they're going to miss Danault's. He, like, after every defensive zone in the Toronto game, he came out to take the face off. He came out to kill all of the penalties, all the big moments. I think they're really going to miss that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you know what? There's you cannot not like Phil Danault. I mean, he's such a likable character. You know, yeah, he's definitely, you know, he gives it his all every shift and whatnot. Defensively, you know, yeah, I mean, he's becoming an elite two-way forward. The issue is, though, is that everyone sees that except for Phil Danault. You know, Danault looks at himself as a guy who should be playing on the second line, having minutes on the power play. He thinks he can score 20 goals a year. And that's exactly what Los Angeles gave him as a contract. And Tom McLellan went on record and saying that, yeah, Danault is going to play on the power play. But, I mean, on a team that already consists of Anze Kopitar, you got Quentin Byfield is going to come up. You got Gabriel Vilardi that's also going to be coming out. You got Alex Turcotte that's going to be coming in as well. So what's going to happen? You're going to see Phil Danault work the third and fourth line all over again at some point, and it just ends up becoming a waste. So, I mean, is that his own fault for not realizing that, or am I just over-analyzing here?
I think he felt his role, like it was being said that there's a risk that I might end up being on the third or fourth line, and he didn't like that. And the fact that the contract situation, when he rejected the offer, it sort of got to him mentally. But again, Phil Danault is that one guy that the Atlantic Division or NHL in general hates to play against because he's the guy who's going to shut you down. He's the one who shut down Matthews and Marner. He's the one who shut down Stone and Pacioretty. Yeah. He's the one who shut down like all of the number one lines. And the problem is now Montreal doesn't have that anymore. Who are you going to count to stop Austin Matthews? Who are you going to count to stop, I'm giving an example, Mark Stone or like.
Well, you know what? I'm going to throw a name out there. And how about Jake Evans? You know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, before the Mark Scheifele incident against Winnipeg, he was amazing. This is a guy who was doing his job correctly. He was doing exactly as he was told. He wasn't trying to be too flashy. I mean, you know, I don't think he can play the minutes that Danault was playing, but I think he could, you know, you pair him up with, let's say, Drouin and Gallagher, for example. That could be a really respectful shutdown line for the Habs.
I think a funny thing about Evans to mention is that he kind of had to go back to a habit gone now, is that Matthew Pekka thing, where he would go away from the game, and then every once in a while you'd watch him make a play and you go, wow, like where'd this guy come from? Like he'd get a shot off or he'd make a good play defensively, and you wonder, where is this coming from? How can we see more of this from him? So I definitely feel, I will agree with you, Patrick, there, that if Evans can figure things out, he could maybe play not quite Danault minutes, but maybe middle of the road Danault minutes, half Danault's minutes or something like that.
I absolutely agree, because I think the way this team is structured, and this is one of the things that, you know, again, baffles me in the apparent Danault negotiations, because we don't know exactly what goes on in the offices. We don't know what's going on in his head and everything. But the way that this Montreal Canadiens team has been built last year is an indication also of what we're going to see this year. And it's built in a way that any of the four lines can beat you on any given night. One night, maybe the first line, you know, which is most likely going to be the same combination of Toffoli, Caulfield, and Nick Suzuki pivoting the center that we saw during the playoffs. You know, they could dominate one game. But then maybe the next game, we're going to see Cedric Paquette, Arturi Lehkonen, and Joel Armia get together, and they're going to be doing heavy minutes. And then the next game, it could be, you know, the Jake Evans line. So I don't think there is a specific, you know, number to every line, so to speak. I mean, there are probably going to be some specific roles, but I don't think that this team is built in which everyone is going to be playing 20 minutes a night, especially defensively, because that whole, like, four defensemen playing, like, you know, 873 minutes a night and everything like we saw in the playoffs, that's not going to happen anymore. We can't do that in 82 games. But I mean, am I off track? Josh, I'm going to ask you, am I off track here? I do think that this is, you know, is just feasible in this kind of, you know, like this modern day NHL? Like, are we going to be rolling four lines night after night?
Well, I think with Montreal, it's a necessity. with the Jake Evans thing, I'm not sure if I do like Evans. I think he's a really great third line shutdown right now. But the important thing is he did play with Danault and on a wing for a lot of the end of that Toronto series. So he was great. He was also being helped by other guys. I'm not sure if he can take that top spot from Danault. But with Montreal, it's a necessity. This team's going to have to score by committee. I don't think Toffoli's going to be another top 10 NHL scorer this year. I think he's going to come down a little bit, and it's just going to have to be 100% effort, which is what the team's delivered. But if they don't have the effort like they often had last year, they could get into some trouble if you have to have all four lines going for this to work. And if they're not, we see what happened last year with some of those middle of the season losing streaks there.
Sebastian, final 30 seconds. They're yours. Go ahead.
I actually wanted to field a question. So the Habs now have 8 viable NHL wingers. They have Toffoli, Anderson, Drouin, Caulfield, Gallagher, Hoffman, Lehkonen, Byron, Armia, Perreault. Sorry, that's 10. And we only need 8 on the team, right? I was just wondering, does that mean that Lehkonen's gone? Considering that we'd have to pay him, 2.4-ish, 2.2 as a qualifying offer, right? Is he gone?
What Lehkonen did for us and that goal he scored in the conference finals, he gave something to the city that we hadn't seen in years and years and years. But regardless of that, I still feel like Lehkonen would be better served possibly with other teams. And I feel like I'd love to see him get a shot with another team. And I think that if Lehkonen can use that shot, he could be a 20-goal scorer with another team like he almost was with us. So while I would like to see him re-signed here, I think it would be a great situation for him. And I think it wouldn't be the biggest loss for us if he did go elsewhere.
All right, that's all the time we have, ladies and gentlemen. This has been episode 1 of Puck and Roll, and I think, this has been an absolute blast. I can't wait to do this again next week. Big thank you again to Sam Mendehlson, Elias Laradi, our insider, Maria Bouabdo on research. Thanks again, Joshua Rosa, Scott Cowan, Sebastian High. I also want to take 2 seconds and just thank Shane Ivers over at silvermansound.com for his song Dirty Gertie, which is going to be our theme song for this show. So once again, thank you very much. Tune in next week for another episode of Puck and Roll.